Welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Avery Kabrich, school psychologist, dyslexia expert, and author of award-winning Once Upon a Time a Sparrow. My entire life has been filled with dyslexia, my own and the children, teachers, and parents I've worked with for decades. I'm here to share with you what I wished I had understood when I was a teacher. Like you, I desperately wanted all my children to be successful readers. In the next 6 minutes, I'm going to tell you about an insight that totally transformed our world. And I'm going to share the most impactful activity that you as a teacher or a parent can do to support all beginning readers, especially those at risk of having dyslexia. Did you know it took our ancestors hundreds of thousands of years to realize that spoken words are not holistic units? That each word is a set of meaningless sounds that can be represented by letters. This is the brilliant insight that made written language possible. Without it, we would have no written record of our past, nor would we have the precious ability to share our thoughts and ideas with people we may never meet. A more recent, game-changing discovery is that children who do not grasp the same insight as our ancestors, that words are composed of sound units, will not master reading. This critical insight called phonemic awareness is the single best predictor of future reading success. Weak phonemic awareness is the most prominent characteristic of children with dyslexia. And most importantly, what I truly wish I had understood, phonemic awareness can be strengthened in all children. Before I get to the how, it's critical to understand the challenge. Facilitating this awareness is not as straightforward as teaching the alphabet. There's a reason for this. Our brains were designed to process spoken, not written language. Therefore, our brains evolved a way to recognize and produce alphabetic sounds in what I call a shorthand version. You see, the letter sounds we teach our children show up in spoken words clipped, sort of like saying bro for brother and everybody understands, which is a huge benefit to spoken language, allowing us to speak our words quickly. However, this shorthand way of saying our sounds adds an abundance of confusion when it comes to learning written language. For example, we teach our children that letter B says buh, except they don't hear buh in boy or better, maybe in the word butter. Here's another tricky part about phonemic awareness that I was totally clueless about. Learning to read alters your perception of spoken words. When I say the word cat, you will likely perceive 3 distinct sounds, whereas a non-reader of any age would beg to differ, because in actuality, these sounds are not acoustically discrete. They're smashed together to allow us to say our words quickly. Your perception of the C-A-T in cat is an artifact of being a reader, an advantage our beginning readers don't have. Teaching letter names and sounds is important, but it's not enough. How can our children appreciate all the effort that goes into learning letter sounds when they don't experience spoken words as a set of letter sounds? The insight that gave birth to written language is the same insight we must help our beginning readers to grasp. And the best way to do this, in fact, the most impactful activity you can do, are phonemic awareness activities. They're simple and powerful. Begin by recognizing why the awareness of letter sounds and spoken words is so difficult for a non-reader. When you say to a child, k-at, there's little resemblance to the word cat. The way you perceive spoken words is not how they will. Guess what? Children use language to communicate, not to analyze sound features. Their attention to words is dominated by the meaning of words. In order to help them to become readers, you must help them to understand spoken language in an unfamiliar way. Not the meaning, but the various sounds within a word. Start with the global aspects, such as rhyming. A great way to do this is to read books with lots of rhymes. For example, Dr. Seuss. Gently bring their attention to the sound of the rhyming words, not the print. Once they can recognize when two or more words rhyme, for example, does cat rhyme with hat? Yes. Does fat rhyme with sad? No. Then you could help them to generate rhymes in a supportive way. For example, what rhymes with sit but starts with f? What rhymes with fat but starts with m? Next, help them to notice natural breaks in words, starting with compound words. Move from making the break noticeable to less noticeable. For example, campground, campground. Horseshoe, horseshoe. Invite them to clap with you. From there, introduce 2- and 3-syllable words. Sudden, table. Again, moving from making the break noticeable to less noticeable. Another variation that I like is to ask the child to draw dashes from left to right for each sound statement. For example, campground. What does this say? Camp. This, ground. Can you say it this way? Ground, camp. Camp, ground. Our brains were never wired for reading, but they can be rewired. Phonemic awareness is the best tool for doing this. Unless children notice global sound similarities and differences between spoken words, they won't be able to put to use their knowledge of the alphabet to sound out simple words, such as cat and mop. To master reading, they must grasp the same insight as our ancestors, that the word cat is what you get when you smash together letter sounds C, A, and T. Below, you'll find some links to some other helpful sites with phonemic awareness activities. If this was helpful for you, please like and share. Thank you.